My fellow Americans, the British are coming. The British are coming. That was the war cry of 13 colonies that band together to fight off British troops. The British troops have been sent to enforce mandates, taxation, and other abuses of an all too powerful British king. Hello, my name is Dale Ure. I founded Friends for America. Today we have many modern-day Paul Reveres going among the people with the same message, a message of warning of oppression, abuses, and high taxation, coming from an all too powerful and out-of-control federal government. States' rights have taken hit after hit until today the states are but puppets for the federal government, striving to implement regulations that the states and the people don't want, nearly bankrupting the states because of unfunded federal mandates and regulations, forcing the states to resort to filing lawsuits to reclaim those rights. Please view this portion of this video produced by Friends for America, which has now joined National States' Rights Coalition. As you view this section of the video, notice how it explains why the 17th Amendment completely destroyed the separation of powers with this delicate system of checks and balances. This single feature, lauded by the world, is the genius of the Constitution. This left us with a broken system. It's not the elected officials to blame, not the Democrats, not the Republicans, but the system has been broken. Thomas Jefferson warned that without the change of the Constitution, politicians would seek to go beyond certain bounds. With that in mind, see what new ideas you can learn about the genius of those founding fathers.
Our founding fathers realized that the power of state governments should never be compromised by the powers of a central government. The powers delegated to the federal government are few and defined. Thus, the government created by the Constitution was truly federal rather than unitary. It was a decentralized government of separate but harmonious jurisdictions. The state government represents the wishes and feelings and local interests of the people. Something came along to change the balance of power. In 1913, a change was orchestrated that changed the entire face of government. It allowed for the federal government to grow and expand at an incredible pace. Until today, one would be hard-pressed to recognize anything but the shell of the original government our founding fathers intended it to be. The passing of the 17th Amendment, allowing senators to be elected by the general populace, took power away from the states and much of their sovereignty.
For going on 25, 30 years, some of the founders of our country, we realized the fundamental basis of the loss of power in this country was the 17th Amendment. It destroyed completely the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment, you remember, is the one that gives all the rights reserved to the states.
So what do the U.S. senators influence? Shall we name a few? Supreme Court nominations and all other federal court justices. Appellate court nominations. President's cabinet appointments, including the Attorney General, the Surgeon General, the Secretary of Education. How about the 300-plus federal posts, all ambassadors, all land use bills, all tax bills, all legislations, all treaties, even all military matters? Knowing what power they wield, we must ask ourselves who controls the senators themselves. Well, since the passing of the 17th Amendment, it is certainly not the states. It is the PAC monies, the media, campaign finance, power groups, and lobbies. And then if you continue way down the list, you see the voters do have a small say in the matter. Is this really the way it was intended? No wonder our states can no longer stand up to the power of the federal government.
Those senators could care less about what political groups were on their case. They could care less about the media's response to their questions and their feelings. The Senate is the central control of the entire federal government. It is not the same Constitution that our founding fathers put together. It's not the same government. And I think in your heart, you've witnessed enough in your life to feel that. That's why we have to return to the original Constitution as the Founding Fathers gave us. That's government of the people, by the people, for the people, not the media, not the money, and not the power brokers.
So what can we do? Can people today still unite for a just cause? We believe that we can. We are Friends for America, and we want to bring about a change in the current trend. We want to return to the states the power they were originally granted. We are not a radical group seeking to revolt against the government of this land. We want to exercise our rights as citizens, to live freely in a land where national government doesn't put our state and individual freedoms in jeopardy. Our short-term goals are to educate every state legislator in all 50 states that the balance of powers established by the Constitution rest upon their shoulders, the state legislators. The original Constitution dictated as the crucial balance of power was that the state legislators are to appoint the U.S. senators. The Founding Fathers proclaimed this principle as key to states' rights and balance of powers. It worked with unprecedented success for 125 years until we passed the 17th Amendment. We therefore must repeal the 17th Amendment.
Repealing the 17th Amendment will bring all the power back to the states. The state legislators then will have control over the federal government. Now they need to be united, or at least a majority of them, which prevents one state from getting ahead of the others, and the Founding Fathers understood that. But it brings all the issues, the major issues that we fight with daily in our business, in our religion, in our education, it brings all those issues back to the states. And the states then, your local elected representatives can handle that in your state capital instead of 2,000 miles away where we have very little influence.
We have established charter units of Friends for America in several states already, and want to continue our effort in every state with chapters in every major city.
We've talked to some great scholars that have all said, this is what needs to be done. This single act will restore the power back to the states. It may take a little reading on our website to understand why the 17th Amendment destroyed the entire checks and balances, which provided power to the states to control the federal government. Yes, 1913 was a very bad year. The 16th Amendment, income tax and the IRS, creation of the Federal Reserve System, and the 17th Amendment all completed the destruction of our states' rights. My fellow Americans, it's the system that's broken. For example, does your state favor all the current political actions taken by the federal government? Under the current system, can your state do anything about it? No, not since 1913. Here's the point. Since the 17th Amendment, a senatorial candidate must raise between $3 million and $10 million to just run one race. Ask yourself, where does that kind of money come from? Approximately 80% comes from any of the following: corporations in other countries, friend or foe, non-domiciled corporations, other good old boy politicians, special interest groups, political parties, foreign nations. Have the lawmakers placed any restrictions on themselves? Over 78% comes from outside their own state. Perhaps that's why senators feel they must vote the way they do. The original system is broken. Honest men should not have to raise that kind of money to run for office. Our founding fathers had witnessed money peddling with England, and so provided this balance of power to prevent it, which was destroyed in 1913. The big question: what is the only force that can go against a powerful federal government? It is the collective power of our state legislatures. It was only the unity of the 13 colonies that brought victory then, and it's only the same unity of the states that will do it today. We must take the Senate back out of the hands of the money changers. By having them elected by the state legislatures, it takes them out of the money game. It's called buying votes, pandering, influence. The senator, then acting as an ambassador for his state legislature, will now do that which is in the best interest of the state, rather than foreign corporations or outside influence or political pressures. He can also bring back home your tax money, issues that belong to your state. If he won't be sent back to Washington. Now that is election reform. Can you think of anything on a national level that will not be affected for good? Now let me ask you, has your state been successful in stopping any of these outrageous attacks? No. No state has. That's where you come in. Please visit our website and read the articles there that explain in detail how we can use the power granted to the state legislatures by the Constitution to bring our federal government under control. While we've already contacted all 7,000 plus state legislators, this movement must have your help. This responsibility rests on your shoulders. Join us in getting this message to your neighbors and to your state legislators. Then we can band together. With only 34 states across America, we can repeal the 17th Amendment. My fellow Americans, this is the only way to return to the Constitution and permanently restore states' rights. Repeal the 17th Amendment. It's an idea whose time has come. Thank you.